E36 BMW 3 Series was a transformative car for BMW. It has a lot of firsts, like the enclosed headlights, introduction of 4 valves per cylinder, variable valve timing, OBD2, and of course the start of the M3 as we know it today. But before it reached its final model year in 1999 and its nearly 10-year production span, the E36 Chassis 3 Series underwent a lot of changes, all of which started here in the 1992 model year 325i, produced now over 30 years ago. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're in something that is a little bit special to me. It's a 1992 E36 325i. Normally this wouldn't really seem that special, except you don't really see a lot of these in nice shape. And there's a lot of little differences in these cars from the later style cars. This is Andrew.
Hello.
Andrew, would you like to tell us a little bit about this car? How you picked it up, where you got it from?
So I bought it in Sanford, actually, which is very close to where I live. And so that was surprising for me. But the guy that bought it, he bought out in Colorado. So because of that, they don't use salt. So that it's not like...
Rust-free.
It's rust-free, yeah. But overall, this car is in very good condition. Very happy with how I got it.
Oh, yeah.
It's all the stars aligned, is what I'll say.
All right. Well, there we go. Let's go ahead and hop on the road and see how the first E36 drives. Very sorry about that.
Is it a lot different?
It is noticeably different. Okay, there we go. Rough one too. All right, driving the 325i. My first initial impressions of this thing. So I haven't driven a 325i in a very long time, and the throttle is a lot different from the OBD2 cars. It just feels a lot different. And there's just a lot of little differences. Like the glove box is it's not a button, it's the little like push thing.
Yeah.
No airbag in the dash, which is cool. You have a very desirable dashboard.
Everybody that always gets in, they always make a comment about how the dash looks funny, like it's got a little pocket in it.
Right, yeah.
And
they
don't understand. They don't get how cool it is.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see why the throttle's messing with me now. I have to give it a little more on the blip. So stock exhaust, stock airbox, and everything.
Yeah, this is bone stock, except for the coilovers and wheels. They're BBS style 19s.
Yeah.
But no idea on the coilovers. That was a previous owner.
Yeah, we'll throw a photo up on screen or something. Maybe you guys can comment down below if you know the coilovers. I thought they were MTS Technic originally, but I don't think the rear shocks in those are blue. Maybe we can all figure it out together. I'll update the description when we find out. I like the old radio, the mechanical, climate control. From watching the old like Motor Week videos, they flip through all the dials. They have a nice little like click. Yeah, you don't get that in the OBD2 cars.
The thing I like about it is with the temperature. If you want it hot, you just turn the dial all the way, and then it's so like this is cold and this is hot. I love that.
It is cool.
Because with my dad has a newer Silverado, and he's got the push button where you gotta like push the button to get to the certain temperature. And then his other truck, he's got one of those dials, and then on that dial, like you can twist it like 10 clicks, you can feel the 10 clicks, and it goes up 2.
That's cool.
I'm not impressed with newer technologies and climate control.
Okay, the downshifting is it feels a lot different on this because of the throttle cable difference.
I know I've gotten pretty good with downshifting on this.
Yeah.
This is my first manual car that I've been able to drive. I have a Project E30 at home, so that was my first manual car that I bought. But I learned a super long time ago on my dad's, I think it was a small block Chevy swapped Jeep Wrangler. So that was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
It was lifted on huge tires. That was my sad about.
Oh, that sucks.
But, you know, so that's long gone. No idea where it is now.
So a little anecdote. So my father had a 92 325i when I was a kid. And eventually I kind of grew up, and that car ended up, it had like over 200,000 miles. He just parked it because it was worth nothing, and it made his insurance a lot cheaper. Eventually I come a driving age. It becomes one of the first cars I drove. Now that one was an automatic, but it kind of solidified me liking E36s for better, for worse. So getting in this car, after having not driven one of these things in a long time, it's cool. And I've never driven a manual 92 one. It kind of brings back a lot of nostalgic memories. The tan interior too. This is probably one of the things I like most about this car. Just the tan interior on the early ones, I don't know, it just works. The non-airbag dash is cool. You get the two-tone with the black. I like that a lot. This tan is actually a little bit darker than the brighter, almost Ferrari tan that came in the later ones. I'm gonna say it's like 94, 95 on. Just another little thing. I don't know why they changed it, but I don't know, it's cool. This is a little more of like a darker gray tan. Obviously, it being of age doesn't really help its case, but you know.
It's a little bit sun faded.
Oh yeah, it's an old car.
It's like, it does have a couple dings and dents. I brought it up to my coworker, and he looked at me. He's like, "It's
yeah,
a 92. She's earned them."
This thing's over 30 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
The first E36. I mean, this is a, what do we say, 891?
Yeah, it's 0891 is the production date.
So that is August.
Yes.
August of 91. So yeah, this thing, the E36s now are old cars. This thing's well over 30 years old. Just. Well, hang on. May, June is 6, July is 7. Yeah, August, it's 8.
Oh, it is.
How many people does it take to figure out the month of the year?
The BMW's owners. It's pretty
A couple of BMW owners.
Yeah, the synchros are really nice. Whenever I'm shifting, I just like...
Continue. I said the synchros are really nice. They feel nice. This thing shifts like butter, which is something I like about the Getrags a lot. The Getrags, they can't take as much of a beating as the ZFs can, but they shift like butter. That was the first thing I noticed about my buddy's 323i, which is basically this car, but just the OBD2 version. And how easy it was just going to 1, 2, and 3. Like, it was actually shocking. Like 1, you could very easily accidentally slide into 1, thinking it was 3rd. Which I was trying to teach him manual. His pushings were shot, but when it's in operating condition, this is in a lot better shape. It's a lot nicer. I like you get a little bit of exhaust noise. It's very cool. I
don't know if I want to do anything to the exhaust because of how it sits just now. Because I think it's at the perfect level.
Yeah, you got a little bit there when you rev it up, but around town, like, it's not drony. It's, well, like stock. I like the OBD1 gauges, a little bit different. The temp gauge. It's got the little. It's funny. I see this on forums all the time, people talking about it, but the OBD1 gauges sit very like a hair to the right of the center, which honestly might be how the OBD2 gauges sit too, but the OBD2 gauges don't have the center line, so you wouldn't be able to know. And then you also get the 160 mile an hour speedometer, which in the OBD2 cars, the non-Ms, they got rid of 160 and 155 is the top. And I think they did something different with like the font or whatever. The gauges, if you ever had two clusters next to each other, you can see the difference in them. There we go. why someone would have bought one of these things new back in 92. It's not really fast, but it's got a lot of really good, it's got a really good mid-range. And because of that M50 manifold, it just keeps pulling the red line. And the later ones, they started to get choked up around, you know, 5,500 RPM. And by the time you're at 6,000, it was like, power band was over, but you still had another 500 RPM, or 1,000 in the M3. Whereas this, it wants you to pull the red line. It wants you to keep going. It's very happy to do that. Even at some of these higher RPMs, I'm just letting it kind of spin at 3,500. I actually have to look down at the tach to know that I'm at that RPM. Because otherwise I just wouldn't know. Whereas mine, like when I'm at 3,500, I know it. And the car's like, hey, shift. This, it's happy to sit up there. Someday I'll probably own a 92. Just because I kind of like having a lot of the differences. I think it's cool. And the 92, I mean, obviously it being the first one, there's just so many differences about it. It just feels like a different car in enough of a way to make me want it alongside the M3, which in theory you would think should be the best one, right? But the power is not something that I really miss driving this. I think you have a 315 diff in here. Just based on the RPMs and where you are in each gear, which is way more desirable. Because this feels really quick.
It's pretty quick. It's definitely, it's not the fastest car in the world, but I don't think you really want it to be.
No, it's a really good speed. I think, honestly, performance-wise, how this thing is now, it's like perfect. You know what this feels like? E30s. Not dynamically. Dynamically, it's very E36. But the driver's controls, the shifter, the clutch action, all those type of things, the brake pedal, it feels a lot more similar to E30s than it does E36s, which would make sense. That's honestly, that's exactly what the gas pedal feels like. And that's why I was struggling with it, because it doesn't feel like an E36 gas pedal. It feels like an E30 pedal. We've now finished our test drive of the 1992 325i, the first E36. And it was amazing. Of course it was. It's an E36. Yeah, I already like them. This was not an unexpected outcome, but it was cool to see all the differences between the early and the late cars, just dynamically driving. I was surprised at how torquey it was. Very keen to pull the red line, which is not something I can say about the OBD2 cars. And honestly, it just kind of felt, it was cool. It was almost like a blend of the later style E36s, and a lot of aspects of the driving experience felt like an E30. But overall, I'd highly recommend it. Honestly, if you were going to buy a non-M, I'd recommend, and if you could find a 92, I would buy a 92, unless you're going to modify it. I think in stock form, so far from all the cars I've driven, this has been the most fun one. But with that, everyone, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.